Hello everyone, welcome to another video on my chess channel, and today I have come up with a trap in the Caro-Kann defense. As you would have seen on the title, shock your opponents if they choose the Caro-Kann defense. So without any further talking, let's start on the game. First, I am going to show you how to win the Caro-Kann defense if you are playing with white, and then after that I'll even show you how to sustain the game if you are playing with black, and how to get a positional advantage. So let's begin. Here white, you will have to start with e4. Then if the opponent replies with c6, this is a Caro-Kann defense. Go for the main line by playing d4, d5, and then you will have to choose the classical variation by playing knight to c3. And here usually intermediate players, like the players having the rating of 1800 to 2100, choose the move d takes on e4. This is a logical move because after development of the knight, you are forcing this knight to move twice, and actually according to the laws of development of chess, after you develop a piece you should not move that piece two times until and unless your development is complete. But if you don't take this pawn on e4, then you are down a pawn on the third move. So after this you are forced to take on e4, and then let's suppose black just develops his knight on d7. So here's the position, and here's where you're going to shock black by playing the move knight to g5. This is a shock to black because he has already forced you to break the law of not moving a piece two times in development. But here you are placing the same piece three times, right? And this is done willingly by you. So here if your opponent tries to be a bit aggressive and he tries to kick away this knight on g5, he thinks that this knight may be pretty bad for black's position, and if he does the move h6, then what would you do? Many people would say that you just push the knight to either h3 or f3, but the move that will finish the game in three moves is knight to e6. This is a move that will completely shock black, because after knight to e6, if black becomes greedy and if he takes the knight, then it's a mate in two. White can play the move went to h5 check, and you see that this king is blocked with his own pieces, this queen, this knight, this pawn, and this bishop, and black will have to forcefully move the pawn to g6, and now queen captures on g6 with a checkmate on the 8th move. So if your opponent is a bit more smart and he sees the move that h6 can't be played, so if he continues development by playing knight to f6, and then you don't have to worry, you just have to play the move bishop to d3. This knight to f6 was not only for development, but this knight is also guarding this g4 square and this h5 square, so this queen cannot come here and checkmate black's king. So this time he thinks that he's ready to do h6. So now if he does h6, knight to e6. So after knight to e6, here if black takes, then it's a mate in one by bishop to g6, and it's a checkmate again in 8 moves. Let's see a third variation. After knight to g5, what if he just develops his knight? We develop our bishop to d3, and then he just plays the move e6, right? Now here you'll have to play the move knight to f3, and then here if he thinks that he has got everything under control and he can play the move h6, then he's wrong, because still you can sacrifice this knight, and if he takes, then it's bishop to g6 check, king to e7 only move. And just look at this position, black is having one knight extra, but still is this bishop on f8 and this bishop on c8 both are trapped. We will have to do a lot of moves to make these pieces active. And as we say in chess, any piece that cannot be moved is considered dead. So this is also a winning game for white. Now let's see it with black's perspective. In this game, after knight to g5, if you get caught with this trap with the black pieces, then you need not worry. You just have to play the knight to f6, then he will play the bishop to d3, and then you'll have to play e6. Then he'll play knight to f3 as discussed earlier, and then instead of playing h6 that was played earlier, you need to play bishop to d6. This is because of the development of bishop. You need to just develop this bishop, and now he does something like queen to e2, and then it's simple. Now you can push this h6 pawn, and you cannot worry about this any sacrifices, because if you push this h6 pawn, now this knight cannot take this pawn, right? Because if it takes, then pawn takes, and then if queen takes the check, then queen to e7, and you see that the queens are pinned to their respective kings. And now this is a forced trade of queens. So queen queen captures on e7, king captures on e7, here black will end up being a piece up and will win the game. And after knight to e6, and you take, and there's another thing that white can do. He can do bishop to g6 check. Then you do not have to worry, because now king to e7, and now supposedly white just castles. Then you have this move knight to f8, kicking out this bishop, making an outpost for the knight, and in this way you will be a piece up again, and you will be able to win this game very easily. So what if after h6 white does not give away his knight? He just plays knight to e4. Then you just take this knight, then queen takes, and then you play the move knight to f6, attacking this queen. And then you are going to h4, pinning this knight, and then you'll have to play you'll have to play a very important move over here. Here, usually players would tend to play the move g5. They say that it is the most aggressive move. It attacks the queen and gains the tempo, but that's not the correct move, because after g5, white can place bishop captures on g5. You cannot take this bishop because the queen will take the rook, so this pawn is pinned, and now white will be a pawn up, and this will be losing for black. So after queen to h4, you'll have to make the best move here, which is very weird, and I'll just give you some time to think over that move. Ready? The move is king to e7, and it is weird because usually after queen to h4 players tend to short castle, but that's not the best move. It is a good move, right? I don't argue, it's a good move, but to defeat white you'll have to play king to e7, and this is because now if the white king castles, and then you will be able to play g5 now, because this bishop can't take this pawn, because then you'll just take, and then this queen also cannot take because this queen is defending the rook. And so the whole point being that this queen will have to retreat somewhere, supposedly h3, then you can just push the e5 pawn, again attacking the queen by the bishop, and then queen to g3, and it's a winning position for black. Even though black has not castled, still it is winning for black. And I hope you enjoy this video. Bye bye.